What is going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money Online Trainer podcast. And in today's podcast episode, we're going to be talking about how this is the end.
This is the end.
Before we get into today's podcast, I just need to let you guys know that, like, if you are married to a woman that does this, let me know. If I don't push the envelope with the things that we do, it never gets done. I'm talking about, no, it's not a fucking lie. It's the truth. I'm talking about if we need to go somewhere, if I don't get in the car and start the vehicle, Kirsten fucking will never leave the house.
And guess what's on my New Year resolutions? Not that.
What's on your New Year's resolution? I just want to hear your sound clearly.
Not that. I
Not that.
care.
So she doesn't care.
No,
But basically she was like, I get so flustered when you fucking make me rush into things. I'm like on time. Okay, I'm fucking on time. And then when I start the things on time, like the podcast, she's like, why are you rushing me? You mean rushing you to start the podcast at the time that we were supposed to?
I don't believe in time. I literally don't.
That's what
I think that time is a restriction that has been placed upon us.
Who the fuck? Okay,
So,
what about the 7.7 other billion people on the planet that believe in time?
So the reason why I obey time occasionally is because I don't want to come off as a disrespectful person. But if we were to live in the land of curse, like there wouldn't be time. We say we want to meet for coffee at 3 and you show up at 4, that's okay. I'll leave if I want to and we'll connect at another time. It doesn't really matter. I hate the idea of time.
All right.
No, it doesn't, not a thing.
Okay, so we're moving on from that subject. This is the end of the relationship. Just joking. Just joking. Just joking.
What?
No, just joking.
Is this the breakup podcast?
No, it's not the breakup podcast. Guys, this is the end. All right. The reason Kirsten and I wanted to do this podcast is because everybody is in the season of it's a new year, so I'm gonna have a new me and la 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 la. And as much as I have hope and optimism for, like, I love that the collective consciousness gets together at like one period in time in the year and says, like, let's change our fucking life. The sad reality is that this is the end of 2024.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about this topic because I feel like everybody's kind of posting from different angles. There's the like, you can start anytime. There's the like people that are like, you need to start now because if you don't start now, then you're just going to be another New Year's resolution. Or there's so many different things being shoved in our face on social media. So I would love to hear like your honest thoughts about this new fucking year. It is the end of 2024. It is the start of 2025. That is a fact. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that most people go year after year after year after year living the same fucking life, going to work at the same job, making the same amount of money, same level of mindset, physique looks the fucking same. I believe everybody just does the same thing year after year after year after year. And then they think that January 1st comes around. And when January 1st comes around, they're going to magically make a decision that they're going to change their life. And then it's going to be different. I believe that. And I believe that a lot of people want to be successful and they want to transform their life and they want to make more money and they want to step up. But I think a lot of people struggle to look back at the previous year and ask themselves the question, if I could do this year again, what would I have done differently?
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss the reflection piece. I think they get caught up in the excitement. And I think it's important to not take away from that excitement. Like if you're excited for a new year and you feel motivated to be a better version of yourself, like cool, but that's the feeling, and what's going to be the most valuable part of that feeling is the action you take to get there.
Yep.
And I just have seen so many people do it year after year. It's like, I have these massive goals and this is my year and 2024 was so hard, but 2025 is going to be different. And then the moment any sort of adversity hits them, they just write off the year. It's fucking January 3rd and the year is already written off, when, like, in my personal experience, the most challenging years I've had have also came with like the most growth. But if we don't actually reflect on, and if we don't do an honest reflection, like, it's really important to know that no matter what, we're still here and we're still breathing. So we're doing something right. Like we're not right. We're doing something right. But a lot of people will be, well, you know, like my physique was the same, but I did this, this, and this, and this, and this. And it's like, that's great. But if one of your main goals was weight loss and you're carrying around 150 extra pounds of weight and you didn't lose a single pound this year, that's a problem to me. Like there's years where you don't focus. Like for me, it's like my goal of this year has nothing to do with my physique. I want to continue to stay fucking juicy, love my body, proud of what I built. I just want to maintain this. But if I was to go into 2024 and say, I want to lose 30 pounds and I ended 2024 and I didn't lose 30 pounds, but I did all these other things, certainly I'm going to be proud of myself for all of these other things. But if I'm unhappy with the weight that I'm carrying around and I'm unhappy with my body, then that to me is like a problem. So I think we have to like be honest with ourselves.
And like, this is the thing is like, I literally do not want to shame any of you. I really don't. And my only intention with this podcast is to give you guys some practical tools that you can take away and make 2025 your year, because I honestly hope that 2025 is the best year of your fucking life.
Same with me.
I hope that you achieve every single goal that you could ever set for yourself. I hope your life is beautiful. I hope it's abundant. I hope you you get everything that you could ever want. And I also know that like, I don't have any control over that. Only you do.
Yeah.
All I can do is hold up a mirror to show you some of the things that I've done that's really helped me, and also some of the things that I think might be useful for you. And I think that my whole belief on success and personal development is like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Like, it's a fucking problem. And so what I mean by that is that if you're working on your success, whatever, a lot of people make the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again. They want to be successful, but they run into this obstacle and then they fall off track. And then they're like, oh, I need to get back on track. And then they get on track and then they run into the same obstacle and then they fall off track. And most people never actually sit down and do an honest self-reflection and say like, why did I fall off track? You know, so it's not just that like, okay, I had a, 20, 30 pound weight loss goal and I didn't hit it. Let's sit down and honestly do a self-assessment on ask myself why I didn't hit it. Like, what happened? Okay, I was on track for 4 weeks and then I went away for a week. And once I went away for a week, I kind of fell off track. And then when I got back, it was really fucking hard for me to get back on track. So I didn't. So all of a sudden I'm just off track and then I stayed off track. Okay, so now I recognize that me going on vacations can be a trigger for me to fall off track. So the next time I go on a vacation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some time making sure that I properly plan out how I'm going to execute and I don't just press the fuck it button. And now I'm not going to make that mistake again. So I'm not going to be back in the same place in a few months from now. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And I'm with you. Like, my only intention for this podcast is like, I want every single one of you guys watching this, listening to this, to have the best year of your life. But the truth is sometimes you need to be hit with some truth bombs to actually tap into that potential that you all have. So I agree. Like, I also think that when we look back and we reflect, it's called reflection. Like, reflection to me is like a very light word. Like, it's a nice word, right? When we like look back and we're angry and we're mad and we're holding on to all these actions that we took in the past that we're not proud of, that isn't productive.
I agree.
Right? So it's like, there's a difference between looking back on the year and being like, 2024 was the hardest fucking worst year of my entire fucking life. Everything went wrong in 2025.
And I'm such an idiot because I fell off track. I lost momentum. I wanted to lose the weight. I wanted to do this. And we just beat ourselves up
into 2025. If that's the way you're looking back. So when we reflect with honesty, but we also reflect with empathy. We also reflect with compassion. We also just reflect with the genuine care for our well-beings and wanting to do better this year.
Yeah. And I want to add one to this. I want to add a thought to this. I want to use the term objective reflection. Objective reflection. Objective reflection is reflection without emotion attached to it. So I'm not looking back on my year and being like, okay, if I could do this year again, what would I have done differently? Well, I'm a fucking idiot and I fell off track here and I didn't post here and I didn't do this here. And then you're beating yourself up. It's objective. You're like, okay, so like I can see when I look at my reflection of the year that I fell off track here and here and here. So now let's objectively make a game plan so that doesn't happen again. So it's like being objective when you're reflecting instead of like shaming yourself or beating yourself up, because like as much as that energy can transform your life at times, I think that living in that energy and channeling it, like I think more people end up having that energy cause them to self-sabotage even more because they're mad at themselves for not doing more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I almost need to take it a step further. What if it's like you said, objective reflection, which I like, but what if it's like, you think about a teacher marking a test? The teacher doesn't have a direct emotional attachment to the test. They're just marking the test. So it's like, you're just grading yourself on the last year, and it's not good. It's not bad. But if you're at like a C-, you're obviously, there's room for improvement. So it really is just like stepping up, because when we allow our emotions to take over and we start to almost like feed into the negative emotions that we felt through 2024, we just keep those things relevant in our life right now. And so if we just take a step back and we almost look at it as like, okay, here's where I did well, here's where I did wrong, and what can I do better this year? It's a lot lighter of a process. And I think also like a lot more productive of a process.
Yeah. I like the idea of like a lighter process. And like, let's even have a conversation about like, why would we be reflecting in the first place? Right? Like, what's the purpose of looking back on 2024 and why is this even important? Like, I believe that this is important because I want you to achieve every single goal that you possibly can next year. Like, I want you to achieve all your goals. I want you to fucking crush in business. I want you to crush in life. I want you to crush in your fitness journey. I want all that for you. And so the reason that we look back is because, like Steve Jobs says, it's a lot easier to connect the dots looking back than it is looking forward. Meaning that, like, if you look back at your past actions and you can assess, where you fell short and why you fell short, and you can do an honest self-reflection on like where you need to improve, then you can take those lessons, you can learn from your failures, learn from your mistakes, take them into 2025 and actually achieve the goals that you set for yourself. Versus coming into 2025. And again, this is what most people do, is they just blindly set a new target for the year without any consideration for what happened last year. Just almost like trying to forget last year or pretend it didn't happen.
Agreed.
But you're taking the fucking same person into a new year.
Same habit, same
so it's
person,
like new year, new me. No, like new year, same you, just with like goals that you're hoping to achieve. And like, how do you actually give yourself a better chance of succeeding at the things that you want, is to understand like where you're falling short and to make a game plan so that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Dude, that's how I overcame my addiction. Is like, I recognized, like, I was looking back and I'm like, anytime I go out to a bar, I want to do drugs. So looking back at that, every time I'm at a bar, I'm triggered. I'm just not going to go to bars anymore. Yeah. And then that started to change my life. And then it was like, anytime I was feeling emotionally triggered in my relationship, I would feel the need to fill that void with drugs. So I recognized that. And then I said, I'm going to do therapy in order to solve my own emotional pain so that I don't feel triggered every time I have a problem in my relationship. It wasn't like looking forward that gave me those insights. It was looking back and seeing where I fell short so that I could make a better game plan.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, I was actually talking with a client this morning just about like, so alcohol, like a lot of people feel like in order to enjoy the holiday season, what do they need? Lots of alcohol. And certainly you want to have some drinks, like go hard, you do you. But the way that we prove to ourselves that we don't need alcohol is how? How would you do that? You don't drink alcohol. So for example, one of my biggest moments this last year was going to my sister's bachelorette, having the best time of my entire life and not having a single drink, because I proved to myself that I don't need it. Really uncomfortable, really challenging, like a really challenging moment for me, because typically I'd be the one doing shots, right? But I wasn't this time. So I think the way that you show yourself that you can is you got to prove to yourself. And you guys, like, that's really uncomfortable. If you're the person at the Christmas party that is blackout every year, dancing on tables, and this year you decide to drink water, that's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable. But in order for you to show yourself that you can, you have to do it. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that, if that makes sense. It's so simple. It's the same thing with like, okay, so last year I was binge eating every single year. When I was in the middle of my binge eating disorder, I was very much so doing it mindlessly. I wasn't like, I'm going to eat all of these donuts and then feel like shit. I was like, I just eat these donuts and then the feeling like shit came afterwards. So for me, it was like, in order for me to change my eating habits, I had to bring awareness to the trigger for eating habits. One, like you said, it's a disciplined environment. So for you, it was don't go to the bars. For me, it was like, don't keep foods that I tend to binge on at the house for right now. And like, when I feel emotional, like, that's not a time for me to eat. That's a time for me to reflect. That's a time for me to ask myself what's going on. So it's just these small things. And then when I do that, when I'm at the store and I'm about to buy a box of donuts because I'm upset because a boy didn't text me back, and I say, not right now, then I'm showing myself that I matter and I'm fighting back to that feeling. And that feeling, like, it sounds so silly, but to me, like, sugar and food, like, that was my addiction. Like, I couldn't stop myself. So to be able to bring awareness in that moment and choose something different was massively challenging. I'm sure the nights where you wanted to go to the bar, but that's why you didn't just stay in Calgary and not go to the bar. You went to a fucking camp miles and miles away so that there was no bars close. Like, sometimes you have to like burn the boats and put yourself in a situation where it gives you no other option but success.
Yeah. And I want to touch on that because, like, in terms of like reflecting and knowing, where you fell short and what the deficits were, et cetera, I think I want to hone in on this because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the reasons that you wanted to stop binge eating is the same reason I wanted to stop drugs, is because I didn't like the way it made me feel.
100%.
I didn't like the way it made me feel. Yeah. Now, why is this important? Because there may have been some things that you did this year. There may have been some actions that you participated in. There may have been some places that you were in your life where you didn't like the way that it felt. Even like if your business is fucking struggling, it's like, I want you to reflect on that and sit in that emotion and say, like, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to make a game plan to make sure that I don't fucking feel this feeling anymore. Because that was it for me. Like, I'm like, I don't like the way that I feel as an addict. I don't like that I let my friends down, that I let my family down, that I let myself down, that I let my goals slip. I hate this feeling. And so like the motivation to change came because I no longer wanted to do the things that I was doing that was keeping me feeling like shit. So it's like, that's the whole purpose of this is like, guys, I think that everybody listening to this can resonate with the idea that like when you're feeling really good and your momentum and you're on fire and like everything is like working, it's easy to be successful.
Oh yeah.
You know, like when you're feeling good and you're in like going to the gym, you're in momentum, etc. It's easy for you to do the things that you need to do to be successful. But it's like, it's the times that you're not feeling as good, you're not feeling as motivated, as disciplined, as integral, whatever. It's like what you're doing in those times is like what determines how far you advance in life, because all of us as collective human beings experience similar emotions. So if all of us experience similar emotions, why is it that like there's the top 1% or the top 5% or the top 10% of people that end up making it in like, whether that be fitness, business, relationships, whatever? It's because those 10% of people react to their emotional experiences differently. They just move differently. And they've got a different process and a different plan and a different way of going about things. So like all of us have access to the same fucking tool belt, but it's like you will never be successful if you don't take an honest look in the mirror and assess like what areas you are reacting to, or what vices that you have that hold you back, or what people you have in your life that are negative, or like what habits that you have that are holding you back. Like you'll never be successful unless you can do an honest self-reflection on what your flaws and weaknesses are and then make a game plan for the future.
I agree. And I think like, think about this. Okay. So you're trying to change your mindset. You're always constantly beating yourself up. So you decide, oh, well, I'm going to change my mindset. I'm going to change the way that I think. But every single action that you take on a daily basis, you're drinking alcohol every single day, you're missing the gym, you're doing all these things, but you're trying to change your mindset. Your actions don't support changing your mindset. So for me, it's like, I could tell myself, oh, hey, I want to be better. I want to feel better about myself. But then every single day, I'm missing my workout. I'm binging in the evenings, and all of the actions that I have don't support feeling or doing or being better. So you guys really have to think about like, a lot of people are working on their mindset, but like to me, someone that's working on their mindset also needs to be working on the food that they're putting into their mouthful. Because you cannot eat shit food every single day and have a healthy mind. That is my personal opinion. You just can't. If you're constantly treating your body like a junkyard, but then claiming that you have like this amazing mental health and you just can't, like they're all so correlated. Like firstly, and like as someone could prove me wrong, the people that I'm the most inspired by and that I look up to, there's very basic things that they all do. One, they are absolutely committed to self-development. They're always reading new books and they're always learning. They're always working with mentors. They move their body. Like every single person that I'm inspired by goes to the gym and has a physique that I'm like, damn, that took some work. Like that's inspiring. 3, they meditate or have some sort of practice that allows them to drop into silence with themselves. All of these practices are like congruent throughout every single person that I follow, whether it's an elderly female or it's a younger male, whoever it may be. So the people that I consider successful, and successful to me is people that are not just successful financially, but they are successful in their family life. They wake up and they're excited for life. They have all of these same practices. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people are trying to change their mindset without changing their eating habits, without changing their movement routine, without changing, but it's like those things are all correlated. So the chances are, in order for you to have a healthier mindset, you're also going to have to like restructure your eating habits, and you're also going to have to restructure the way you move your body.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I also think that like, I agree wholeheartedly. And I think that it's like, I think that people either approach it from like one way or the other. Like I'm looking back on my year and I realized where I fell short. And so like, they're like, I think there's 2 things. There's actions and words, right? So people will look back on their year. They're like, oh, I had such a positive mindset and I was doing all the right things and I was meditating. I was doing my affirmations, but then like they eat like shit, you know, they're skipping the gym and they're drinking on the weekends. You know what I mean? So like, even though they're quote unquote working on their mindset, they're like, their actions don't show. I also know that there's a lot of people, and some of my clients do this. And this is why when you guys come to coaching calls, I like reaffirm you. A lot of my clients will like be taking the right actions, right? They'll be like doing the right things, like on paper, posting on social media, sending their DMs, doing what they need to do. But then their mindset is they're like, they feel like they're a failure. They feel like they're not enough. They feel like they're not doing enough. They feel like they're overwhelmed. They feel like they're anxious. They feel like frustrated, stressed out. So it's like, I think it's like when you look back on your year, it's like, don't just look at the words that you said, which will relate to your mindset, because like words create mindset. Your words will become thoughts. Your thoughts will become feelings. Your feelings will become how you show up. So like look at your words and your mindset, and also look at the actions that you took. Like, what were you doing? Like, you say you want to be successful. Are you studying? Are you learning? Are you getting better? Are you going to the gym? Are you taking the right actions that are necessary to actually get you there? Or are you just sitting there fucking making a vision board being like, 2025 is my year, and they're not doing anything about it?
Well, I also think that what that like kind of says to me is like also what place are you operating from? I feel like people are sending out DMs not with the like aspiration to help people, but they're operating from scarcity. I need to send out 100 DMs or I'm not going to make money. So where are you operating from? I'm doing all of this work because I'm broke, right? You're not operating from a place of abundance. So it's like whenever I go in, so Mondays is checking day. Whenever I go in to respond to my clients, I know that I'm going to be dealing with some people that might have had a rough time. Some people might be fucking slaying. It all just depends. And so I take myself out of those situations, because I can be an empath at times, take myself out of those situations. I'm there to guide, to coach, and to lead. So I don't go in to my check-ins trying to get my check-ins done as fast as I possibly can. I go into my check-ins with the operating from a place of genuine care to help this person that I'm about to give feedback to, right? So I think the place that you're operating from is so important, because if you wake up and you go to meditate and you're operating from meditating is good for me, just get it fucking done. Oh my God, okay, 5 minutes. Oh my God, fuck, okay, good, done. Now I need to send 100 DMs. Like if you're operating from go, I have to do all these things, but you're not actually operating from a place of, oh, these things are gonna help me move the ball forward. Oh, I'm like grateful that I get to do these things. I'm excited to help people. Then the energy that you receive is also scarcity. It's also fear. It's also lack. And so you need to ask yourself, what place am I operating from? It's like I've been a little bit resistant to my checklist lately because I felt like I wasn't drinking water to nourish my body, and I wasn't drinking water because it was good for my skin. I was like, don't need to get my 3 liters in, so I'm fucking chugging water and pissing myself in the middle of the night. It's like my life is not a checklist, but 3 liters of water dispersed evenly throughout the day feels really good. So in yoga today, I was drinking my water and I was like, wow, I'm so grateful that I have this water that like nourishes my body. And I'm so grateful that this water is going to help me keep clear skin. And at the end of the night, if I drank 2.5 liters and not 3, I'm not chugging 0.5 liters. I'm just going to make sure that I start earlier tomorrow. I'm operating from the place of, I want to take care of myself, not in order for me to feel worthy, I need to be 3 to 4 liters of water down. I need to have 8,000 steps. No, when I go for a walk, I'm operating from a place of, I get to move my body. I have legs. I'm walking around my fucking neighborhood. This is really cool. Not, like trying to get my steps in. That being said, there's grind seasons where I'm like running around the house and getting my steps in, but I'm also enjoying that. It's not like a pain in the ass. It's not annoying. Does that make sense? You know? Yeah. You feel?
I like that. Where are we operating from?
Yeah.
I think that I want to make this helpful because when you were talking about how sometimes you're like, oh, you're like beating yourself here, but like I've got a checklist. I need to do all this shit.
Yeah.
I think that when we're talking about self-reflection and looking back and keeping a objective attitude about it, yes, I want you to be objective, and I think if there's anything that can be productive and useful, it's like be honest about where you fell short. And then also be honest about where you did awesome.
Yes.
Where you did awesome.
Yes.
Like, where did you fucking show up? Because I think that a big reason that people struggle with self-reflection and looking back is, as human beings, all of us are more attuned to negative, which is why when I do a headline that's like, stop eating like a fucking dumbass, you guys are like, oh, you're so funny. But it's like, if I'm trying to give you like, this is how you change your life, no one cares. It's because human beings as a whole are more attracted to negativity, which is why if you drove by a car accident, you'd slow down and you'd look, but you like drive by a mom holding her kid's hand, you don't give a shit. We're just more attracted to negativity, which is why when you look back, it's almost easier to notice all of the shit that you did wrong, like all the things that you did wrong.
Agreed, yeah.
So when we're looking back, not only is it important to like assess where you feel like you messed up, but also like assess where you did things good, like assess where you're happy with yourself, assess where you're proud of yourself, because that's where gratitude comes from. Like gratitude comes from this place of like, I'm fucking proud of the work that I put in. I know that I can improve in certain areas, but I also am very fucking grateful for how far I've come. I'm proud of myself and I know that I'm capable of more, because like guys, 2025 is right around the fucking corner.
Mhm.
And all of you guys could be doing anything you want to do. Like I'm talking about any income goal that you had, any physique goal that you had, any business goal that you had, any relationship goal that you had. Like any one of you guys could achieve any single goal that you set for yourself. And like that for me is why I look back, so that I can see where I can improve, so I can see where I'm proud of, and also so that I can look forward and be like, okay, I already did all this and I know I could improve in these areas. So if I set the goals for next year and I take the same attitude in and I work on the areas where I had a deficit, like I know I'm going to be successful. And that's the point of reflection, is like, I want to look back, see where I'm proud of, see where I could have improved, give myself credit for where I did do right things, and then set goals for the next year with a game plan to avoid the deficiencies of the last year.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. The last thing I want to add to that is
Facts.
I think that a lot of the time we have like, so for me, it's like my silver streak. Like my alcohol free, I was so proud of doing like 120 days no alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Something I think we should keep track of is just like how many days you did do things versus how many days in a row you did things. Do you know what I mean? Like if I actually look at my year this year, like there's probably close to 300 days without alcohol. Do you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Like I did almost like there's probably, I would say 65 days where I had a drink or a couple drinks, but there was 300 days where I didn't, but I was only tracking the days in a row that I did that. It's like, okay, so you go 30 days hitting your water goal, but you miss one, and all of a sudden you start over at one and it doesn't count the last. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's like one thing I want to like add to my app this year is not just the streaks, because I'm like, good job, like 14 days in a row. I want there to be like a monthly total. Good job. You hit your water goal like 20 times this month. Yeah. That's awesome. Not like you hit your water goal 20 times and now that you didn't hit it today, you start all over, because that's just discouraging. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, what? But it's like every action that you take counts. Every day that you don't drink counts. Every day that you have one drink instead of 20 counts. Any day that you decide to work on your business and send 100 DMs counts. You know what I mean? Like it all counts.
Yeah, I resonate with that. And that's like, that goes in. So the other day I was talking to one of my clients about like how like I never fucking miss. And like, you never miss. I'm like, I never fucking miss. Like that's the mindset, is like, I literally never miss. And the reason why that mindset's apparent is because, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot. I'm a human being. Meaning that there are days where I feel like shit and maybe I forgot to do my podcast that day, but I'm not like, oh, I didn't do my podcast on Monday like I said I was going to. I'm a failure. I just do it on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like I don't count that as a miss, because I still do my shit. Yeah. So it's like never fucking missing is like, I'm always going to show up for myself and do what I need to do to be successful. Yeah, I love that. And I might slip at times because I'm a fucking human. And then I'm going to get right back on the horse because I don't fucking miss.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the mindset. Yeah. It's not like I'm never missing. Isn't like I'm perfect.
Sleep in. Like I've learned a lot of like this mindset from you. Like you just go later and you don't beat yourself up. And again, it's not a day that you missed, because you still hit what you wanted to. It just might have been done a little bit differently.
I love it. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I hope everyone has the best day of their entire lives. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys are interested in finding more content from me, it's the Change Lives, Make Money Online Trainer podcast on Apple, Spotify, iTunes, all the places. And babe, where do they find you?
You can find me, The Real Kirsten Mark, pretty much across the board. Feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram if you want to chat. And I hope you guys have the most amazing holiday season.
Peace.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Love and protein. Have the best day of your guys' entire lives. And we'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Let's go. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.